Eat It Nation, we're back, and today we're going to do us a Packer brisket, which is a point and a flat. Weighs about 13 pounds. I usually like to get them a little bit bigger, but with the meat shortages today, this is what I got. So I'm going to get this rinsed, patted dry, and we'll be back and start trimming. Alright, we got it rinsed and patted dry. You can do as much of this or as little as you want. We want to get most of this silver skin off. That way we get the seasoning down to the meat. We want to get this side here trimmed off because it just looks gross. This one doesn't look as gross as I've seen some, but the first thing I do is just get rid of that. And we're going to trim. We're going to get all that silver skin and stuff off of there. And yeah, you're going to get a little bit of meat. Don't concern yourself with that because it's going to be a lot better product in the end if you can get all that silver skin off of there. So we'll be back in just a second when I get this side done. We'll look at the other side. Alright, I'm going to show you the technique I use to get this silver skin off, and you can do it and you won't get as much meat. Put your hand under it and get where you're cut and raised up, and then you just run your knife right along and just shave that silver skin off. And it comes off fairly easy that way. You don't lose nearly as much meat. So that's what it looks like. Okay, here's our fat cap side. And you see how thick this fat is? We want to try to get this down to where it's a 1/4 inch. I mean, let's go. We're going to cut into this. We're going to cut this off. Down in here. Get some of this cut off. But you can kind of see what I'm doing. We'll be back in just a second. Okay, this is our flat. Underneath of that, this is a Packer brisket, so it's got the flat and the point on it. You got the point, you see the seam flipping it back and forth. You can see where the flat's laying on top of the point, and you can see the difference in the amount of fat that's in there. So we're going to trim this, separate this back a little bit so we can get some burn ends and stuff out of this point. And it can be fairly tedious. You just kind of want to follow this fat line and separate them. You can either come in from this end back here and leave it attached up here, or you can come from this end and go back that way. It's a little easier to come from the top and work your way this direction. So that's probably what we're going to do. You just kind of go slow, follow the fat line. I mean, it can take you 45 minutes or an hour to get that separated out of there, but you'll be able to get seasoning all the way around your burn ends that way. So we'll be back when I get that done. Alright, you can see kind of where I'm going here. And this fat in here is so hard, there is no way that's ever going to melt. All the connective tissue, there's still more silver skin in here. We're going to get all that trimmed off. When I get that done, I'll be back. Alright, here's our brisket. This is the flat. See how the grain's running this way. It's also very lean because it carries most of the weight of the cow. Over here you have the point, and the grain's running this way. Also has much more fat in it. When I trimmed this, I started, and I just followed the fat like I showed you. Fat line in, and I cut in about halfway, then I come to the other side, and then once you get it separated, you just lay it back, and you can trim. There's a lot of connective tissue and silver skin inside here, which I took all that off, and there's 4 pounds of fat. 4 pounds of fat right here, and that wasn't all going to render out, so we're basically left with about a 9-pound piece of fairly lean meat. Still has the fat cap to protect it. We'll put it in the cooker just like this. So we're down to, we have to inject this, season it, and then put it on the pit. Alright, it's time to inject this thing. Open it up. Now when you inject, you see how the grain in the meat's running this direction, and the grain in this meat's running this direction. So you need to remember that, because when you inject this, you want to inject with the grain. You don't have to, but you really should. It'll make a dark spot inside the meat if you don't. We're just going to fill this thing up. As much of this as it'll hold. I can see it plump up, and that's what you're looking for. So I'm going to keep at this. I'll be back in just a second. Alright, I've got the point all injected. Remember, I went with the grain. And you just put it in there and you'll see it pump up. Now you're going to get a lot of it that's going to come back on you. Anyway, we got this injected. We're going to go to the flat side now. And see how the grain's running different. You might be able to see it better on this side. It's running this direction. It's running this direction. So with this side over here, we're going to inject this like this, and we're going to do it probably every ½ inch. We're going to go all along this and do this. So I'll do a couple and then come back when it's all injected. Now I'm going to say too, on the trimming, if you don't feel like going to that extent, you don't really have to. The most important thing you need to do is cut your fat cap on the bottom side down to ¼ inch. So you just want to work down this piece of meat, just like I'm doing. This will help flavor the meat. I guess I should tell you that I'm injecting this with some of Miner's beef base and beef au jus. That is, I put it in about, I don't know, 2½ cups of water. Probably a little over a tablespoon or so of each. Just taste it, see how it tastes to you, and if you like it, then it's going to be really good in the meat. You can see that meat pump up as you put that in there. That is moisture, flavor. So what we're going to do now, we got this injected. We are going to flip it over. This is going to sit in the fridge for overnight, because as you can see, it's almost 8 o'clock at night, and I'm not starting a brisket at that time. Alright, here's our fat cap. We got the au jus in the pan. I'm going to cover this with foil. It's going to sit in this all night, kind of like a marinade. The meat side down, fat side up. We'll be back when it's time to season it in the morning, right before we put it on the pit, because we don't want our seasoning set too long. It'll make your meat salty, so we aren't going to season this until right before it goes on the pit. Okay, here's our brisket. It's been marinating. We injected it yesterday afternoon, and this is what we've got. I'm going to get this seasoned up here. Another good thing about trimming it like I did is you can get seasoning on all the way around. So that was some steak seasoning. This is some cracked black pepper. Onion, I'm going to use some garlic, got some chipotle and some paprika. I'm also going to put a little bit of coffee on it. I don't have it out yet. And you want to give it a pretty good liberal coat and everything. Coffee will give it a nice dark color. Kind of gives it a different taste too. It's a good taste. Alright, lay that back over. Oh, I'll flip this over, maybe. And you can tell that marinade is set down in the down in the meat pretty good. So we're going to do all this again. Start out with our steak seasoning. Give it a pretty good coat. Peppercorns. The garlic and the onions next. Chipotle again. You can use cayenne, whatever you like. Trying to get it on all of it. Okay, then our paprika. Alright, last but not least, we're going to put some more coffee on this side, and then we're going to be ready to go out and get the pit up to temp, put this in some smoke. So we'll be right back when that's time for that. Alright, we're back at the pit. I've got this set up as usual. I've had 2 chimneys of charcoal in the firebox. It's about 12 pounds. They hold about 6 apiece. I have a water pan on this end. I'm running about 275. I'll control my temp completely up here, and we're going to lay this in with the point side facing towards the fire. Fat cap down, and that's where it's going to be for about the next hour. We'll come back and mop it an hour from now, and we'll see you then. Okay, it's been an hour. We're holding 275. Funny thing is, it's so warm out today, I have it completely shut off and it's holding temp. Some of that smoke out of there. Now this is just our injection and our marinade. It was the Minder's beef base and au jus mixed in a couple cups of water. And we're just going to put some of this on here. The water pan looks like it still has water in it. You want to check that while you're in here. And we're going to do this probably again in about 45 minutes. I like to do it after the first hour, then I'll do 45 minutes twice, and then I'll do it every half hour after that. So that's where we're at. We'll see you in about 45 minutes. Alright, we're back out here. It has been 2.5 hours. So we mopped it an hour in, we mopped it 45 minutes later, then we're mopping it again another 45 minutes later. So we're going to do this again. You can see it's starting to get good color, getting a decent bark. The water pan still has some water in it. We're still holding 275, keeping the hickory smoke on it. Now I don't worry about this stuff running into the bottom of my pit because I have 2 aluminum pans set in the bottom as a catch pan. Hopefully save the bottom from rusting out. That's about all there is to it. From here on, we're going to do this about every half hour. When we get ready to wrap, we'll come back. Alright, just brought this in off the pit. It's been about 4 hours and 20 minutes. And I'm going to do this one more time, mop this one more time. It's showing in the flat in the mid 130s. The point is in the mid 140s, maybe 147, which is fine because our point's going to be taken to a little bit higher temperature. That's where we're going to get our burn ends out of. And we're going to take some more of this, just put some of this around it. Now what we're trying to do is just finish this out and let it steam in its own juices here. We'll put this back on the pit and we'll be back when we bring it off. Alright, probably gonna hear some gunshots. I got a neighbor practicing his Second Amendment rights, so just kind of ignore that. I'm at 8 hours right now, been 275. I started with a little over 13-pound brisket. I cut off 4 pounds, made it 9 pounds. You'd have thought this would have cooked by now. At this point, we're in it to win it. The last one I did weighed, I think 16.5 pounds and took 8 hours. And like I said, we're at 8 hours right now. The point in that is each piece of meat's different. So you just kind of got to go with it. So, see, there he goes. Finally, 12 hours later, we're at 201. It's time for a party. Brisket's done! Brisket's done! Brisket's done! It took it 12 hours for a 9-pound brisket. Come on! Alright, here's what we're going to do next. Okay, we're going to split this out. We're going to get the point off the flat here. And, oh my god, this stuff is tender! We are going to take the point, put in its own pan over here. Oh, baby! Did I mention it was 12 hours for a 9-pound brisket? So, you guys, you gals out there, say you need that fat. I just went through about a 3-hour stall and I cut 4 pounds of fat off a 13-pound brisket. So what we're going to do here, our points, this is what we're going to make our burn ends out of. And I'm taking the au jus out of the flat here. What we're going to do, and that's enough. What we're going to do, we're going to cover this one back up. We're going to stick this in the warming box. This is our flat. This is our slices. This is the working muscle. So, this is going in the box. This is getting covered up and put back out on the cooker. And we're going to let this rest for an hour. We're going to let that cook for another hour. I think before we get going here too far, let's see where we're at. And that is super tender. 203. It really needs to gain probably another 10 degrees. But, yeah. Alright. It's finally coming our way. We got a really good smoke ring. This is really tender. We got our burnt ends and they are super tender. So, you just got to stick with it. We held 275. People that think you can't trim all that fat off and come out with a good product at the end, they're wrong. So, I mean, you can see the smoke ring. That's a good smoke ring. Alright, we'll see you next time.